Hello, ladies. How's everybody doing? I'll put in some earplugs. You might hear me, right? How is everybody doing this Tuesday? Happy Tuesday. I like to celebrate on Tuesdays is Leadership Tuesday, right? Whether it's you're leading yourself or you're leading someone else, right? It is Leadership Tuesday. Appreciate you all for joining me here. And I am Twanna Carter, career and anxiety coach. And I coach women who are fed up with their anxiety holding them back. And what they want to do is overcome their stress and their doubt so they can get their life back on track to live a happy and successful life, right? Because you don't have to have one without the other, right? So again, thank you for joining me. I see a couple people have jumped on out there. So again, today I am sharing some simple ways to stop yourself from overthinking, right? I don't know about you, but this used to be me. If I had a decision to make, I would think about it in all the different ways it could go wrong, may go wrong, and how many different ways I will look stupid in front of people, how many different ways people will laugh at me, and how people will talk about me. And then I go, well, should you be making this decision at all? If people are going to laugh about you, if they're going to talk about you. And okay, so what do we do now? Maybe I should, but I don't have a choice because I agreed to do this. But what if should you just back out? Should you call it a day? Yeah, that overthinking, right? That overthinking. Oh my gosh, how many days did I spend it overthinking, right? And so really it just seems like you can, if you do it enough, you overthink so much that your anxiety levels just hit the roof, your stress levels hit the roof, and you can't really get anything done. It's like that analysis paralysis. You've looked at it so many times, you've overthought. Fear just takes over and you're just like stuck. I have had days where I literally felt like I couldn't breathe because I was overthinking so much and I couldn't make a decision. I just felt stuck, right? So if this seems like familiar territory to you, if it seems like this kind of sounds familiar for you, then yes, I am talking about how do we stop overthinking, right? So if you have questions, please feel free to drop them. Hey, Jasmine, hello. Feel free to drop your questions in the chat box and I will respond while I am on air. Now, a couple of things. I do have two screens, right? So you may see me glance over sometimes to be sure because I try to fit everything small so I can see everything at one time, but sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, right? So absolutely, if you have questions, you have comments, gotta drop them in the chat and I will hit those. So without further ado, and this is part one. This week, it's a two-part series. So this is part one tonight. The second part will be on the 26th, which if I count my days correctly, that should be Friday, at 6:15 p.m. Eastern time. So it's a little bit earlier than tonight. I had an appointment tonight, and so I am on a little bit earlier, but Friday, I'm sorry, a little bit later. Friday, I'll be on at 6:15 p.m. So what is the number one thing that you can do? Where do you start if you want to manage that overthinking? So number one, you got to be aware of what you're doing. And awareness is just the first part of my process when I work with my clients. Be aware of what's going on and what you're doing. Because if you're not aware of what's going on and you're not aware of what you're doing, you can't change it. You can't alter it because you're not aware of it, right? And so if you are overthinking, sometimes just stop. Like, okay, why am I overthinking? What's going on here? Just like, why is it, what's going on? It's like if you feel yourself getting filled up with doubt and you're like, and I used to do like just it just fills up like that overthinking can cause you to get stressed out like that. But be aware of what you're doing, right? Be aware of what is going on. Once you are aware of it, then you start taking those steps, right? So how do you become aware of what you're doing? If you start to feel yourself like hyperventilate, or it feels like you can actually hear your pulse, and I've heard my pulse in my eardrums, like I could just feel it, just bam, boom, boom, boom. something's going on. You are anxious and something is going on. So sometimes it's great to just take a step back and say, okay, start labeling it. Okay, my pulse is beating. I can feel that. My heart feels like it wants to jump out of my chest. I got that. Or I feel like I can't breathe. Right? Just those things like, okay, overthinking. All right, calm down. It's okay. I'm overthinking now, right? Okay, so I need to write these things down. Journaling is one of the best things you can do when you become aware of something that you're doing and you want to label it, write everything down so you can come back and fix it. It's the best thing that you can do, right? And also take a look at how you're responding, because you're overthinking, that's something you're doing, but how you're responding. And I've mentioned a couple of things. I've mentioned the feeling like you can't breathe or feel like you're about to pass out. Sometimes people feel like they're having a heart attack. I've had people to go to a hospital thinking it was a heart attack and it was anxiety, and they were just thinking about doing something, not actually doing it, just thinking about it, overthinking, and they got overwhelmed with all the choices and all the possibilities and all the different ways it can go wrong. Which leads me to the second thing. When you're talking about stopping overthinking, stop thinking everything's going to go wrong. That's that one. Stop thinking that everything's going to go wrong, right? This can go wrong, that can go wrong, that can go wrong, that can go wrong, that can go wrong. And the next thing you know, you're hyperventilate, right? Feel like you're gonna pass out. Your pulse is like beating in your ears, and sometimes I get the head thumping with it. And then you get the your breathing picks up, and you feel like you're gonna like you can't. That feeling. If you know what I'm talking about, give me a thumbs up. That feeling. You need to stop what you're doing and start thinking about all the things that can go right. Think about the things that can go right. If you're like, I can't think of that. Okay, imagine. Start playing an imagination game. If I have to get up in front of everybody and do this speech, and if I do it right, I'll get this information out to them. This person will be helped. I will look really good in front of my boss, or I'll be very happy that I got this. Start thinking about the things that can go right versus thinking about all the negative things. Because what happens is the fear. You start to think about what can go wrong. The fear starts to rise up, and that's why you get that pounding of the heart. And for me, when I get really anxious, I get nervous and I get diarrhea. And that's a tough thing to have when you're at work or somewhere out and you have diarrhea. But again, stop overthinking, start thinking about the things that can go right. And then you're able to let your brain kind of take hold of like, yeah, this can go right. This can go well. Here, this can go well. You know, if I get nervous, I should do this. For instance, when I come on here, I still get nervous, right? I have a type of anxiety known as social anxiety. And there's always that fear of being judged and fear of people calling me stupid for whatever reason. That's a trigger for me, for people calling me stupid or thinking I'm stupid or I look stupid in front of people. That's my thing. So I had to do a couple of things. I did not watch my screen countdown to start time this week because that made me like, what if this goes wrong and what if that goes wrong? So I had to stop that. I realized what I was doing. I had to stop. Then I had to start thinking, what's going to go right? You know what? I may make a few mistakes, but what if I get on and there's someone that's helped by this? What if someone that's been going through this helps them not to feel like they're the only person who does this overthinking thing out of the wazoo, right? So that's a way of thinking what's going to go right. Okay. Something else that I do is I tell you, if I'm nervous, I tell you I'm nervous because that takes it off the plate. Now you know I'm nervous. Everybody knows I'm nervous when I come on here. That's another thing that I can be aware of, that I'm nervous, take it off my plate, and then just be concerned of how many ways this can go right. Okay. Visualize it, literally visualize all the things that can go right. I'll do this. This will happen. This will happen. A lot of people don't realize that when Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson, they were all Chicago Bulls, they did mental imagery. They will sit down and visualize them running plays without having the ball. They would sit and visualize. Visualizing is a powerful way of visualizing what can go right, because your mind is automatically has a habit of what can go wrong. Overthinking is what causes you to overthink. But if you do a mental imagery, I see myself getting up. I see myself getting up a little early. I'm getting dressed. I'm having a great breakfast, or I'm having no breakfast because I'm too nervous when I give a speech. Whatever it is, visualize yourself doing it. I'm getting through traffic. Traffic is good this morning. I'm getting to the job on time. All of it's a mental imagery, and you're setting yourself up for success because you're imagining the things that can go right. Okay. So that's the second way. And I'm sharing 5 ways today that you can't stop overthinking. The other way, the third way that I'll talk about today is to distract yourself with happiness. There's a million and one ways you can do this, right? So I've kind of gotten in the habit. I'm taking a hypnosis training, and I've kind of gotten in the habit now that I will literally just kind of relax and smile. I literally would just breathe, close my eyes and breathe. And I just have this smile on my face, and it just feels good. It's a distraction. What's going to happen? What's going to go here? Nah, I literally just feel good. I just, and I smile as I sit there and breathe to myself. That's one way you can do it. Music is a wonderful way. It is a wonderful way to distract yourself. Now, you don't want to put on something that's like dull or depressing, makes you feel sad. Probably not that. You want something that's a little bit upbeat, something that takes you back to a happy time that you thought of, when you're growing up, or like holidays, you have certain songs or whatnot that just kind of make you feel upbeat tempo. For some of you, dancing is a good way to change it and distract yourself with happiness. You can do your favorite. What's your favorite thing to do, right? Whether it's playing solitaire, sometimes it's a computer game. I used to do that a lot. Just pick up my phone and do a computer game. It just makes me happy for a few minutes. It's about distracting yourself so that you can stop the thoughts from racing, right? Because when they start racing, oh my God, this is going to go wrong and this is going to go wrong. And it's a snowball. So distract yourself. Whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you feel good, learn to distract yourself so you shut down the overthinking and you don't get that paralysis by analysis where you're analyzing, like you have 10 thoughts and then you try to analyze 10 thoughts and you come up with 10 more things. All of a sudden your mind is so overwhelmed because you have all these things to analyze, or you become paralyzed and you don't make a decision at all. You literally sit. We call it analysis by paralysis, right? Paralysis analysis. So we want to stop paralysis analysis, right? So the fourth thing that I'm going to talk about today is you got to really put things in perspective. I know for me, this is especially when I'm tired, everything that I have to do looks like a mountain. I got to wash clothes. It looks like I got to wash clothes for like 80 people. Oh, I have to do this. So I got to do this. And it just looks like it's this mountain that I have to climb. And I just start thinking about, I got to do this and this guy. And the more I think, I kind of find myself doing this. I know that number one, I need to get more sleep. And also, in the absence of getting sleep right then, is a great time to take 2 minutes and just do deep breathing. Give your brain a chance to stop the running thoughts. Give it a chance to just calm down and center, just 2 minutes of deep breathing. And then you're able to put things in perspective, right? Again, I know for me, when I'm sleepy, and you may find that when you're tired, everything looks like a mountain. And you look at yourself like, when I had to do this 2 weeks ago, wasn't as hard, but today's is horrible. Put things into perspective, right? And another great way you can put things into perspective, ask yourself, 15 years from now, will this really matter? What you're concerned about, what you worried about 15 years down the road, will it really matter? 3 weeks down the road, is it really going to matter? 5 months down the road, will it matter? 10 years down the road, will it matter? Asking yourselves those what if questions. What if it's 10 years from now? Will this really matter to me? What if it's 10 months from now? Will this really matter to me? It helps you to take things that look like this, put them into perspective, right? So that you can actually stop the overthinking and actually get them done, right? Great way to do that. Okay. So just checking to see if I got any questions out there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Quite a few people out there. Appreciate you watching. And so the last way that I'll talk about today, which this is just so, this is one I truly struggle with, is perfection. So I struggled with this and for most of my life, for about 40 something years. And I've gotten better the last 10, right? The last 10 years or so. But I really struggled with perfection. Everything had to be perfection. And I didn't want to do anything unless I can think out everything that could go wrong and make everything perfect. And then if I had a perfect project, then I was ready to do it. But the thing is the more you think, something else pops up. Then you got to try to fix that. Then something else pops up. You try to fix that. Then something else pops up. And you try to fix that. Something else pops up because you're wanting perfection. Stop waiting for perfection. Literally step out and do it. Literally take that risk, small risk, medium-sized risk, big risk. Take the risk to don't worry about perfection. Just do something. Take action and get something done. Oftentimes what you'll find if you start waiting on perfection and you take that first step, it just really just feels really good to be doing something. Instead of overthinking, then the next thing will start. You can do the next thing and then the next, and it gets you out of perfection. Because understand that there's only one perfect person that ever was down here, and he walked on water. He's not down here now, so you're never going to be perfect. You're never going to be perfect. It's an unrealistic goal that you set for yourself. And I get it because I do it a lot. We feel like if we're perfect, we do something to perfection, like perfectly done, people will like us more, or people have a better opinion of us. And, I can just present myself in this way if I'm perfect, or I do this a perfect way. But it's not. It's not practical. It's just an impossible goal to reach, which means that you can't get caught in analysis paralysis because you're consistent trying to figure out, how can I do this perfectly? The answer is you can't. The best thing is to do is pick one thing, walk out, step out on it, do it. The next thing to be done, it will follow. And then the next, and then the next. Taking action now really can help you stop waiting on perfection. Because not only do you, and this is what I had to find, and this is what really helped me with perfection. I had to realize I was making the people around me miserable. I was already miserable because I couldn't get perfect, but I was consistently trying. But I started to realize that coworkers around me, I was making them miserable. And then I had to realize I was making my kids miserable because I wanted everything done perfect, keep going, try, do it perfect. And they were miserable. And then once you do that for so long with people, they just stop trying with you because nothing that they ever do will be good enough. And that was what really helped me to realize you got to come out of perfection. You have to stop. Stop the overthinking, stop waiting for the perfection, just do something, right? And it's not saying that you're giving up all your standards. Not being perfect is not giving up all standards. Not being perfect just means you have realistic standards that doesn't cause you to overthink, doesn't cause you to get caught in analysis paralysis, and doesn't make the people around you miserable because they feel like nothing that they ever do is good enough for you because you're always wanting perfection. It will also stop you from beating yourself up because you're waiting for perfection. You're waiting for something that's just never going to happen, right? And it took me 4 decades on this earth to figure that out. Paralysis, analysis, perfection, all cause overthinking, and they not only make you miserable, but they make the people around you miserable too. We make our loved ones miserable, we make our coworkers miserable, and really that's what helped me to come out of that, right? Nothing needs to be done perfectly. Sometimes it just needs to be done okay, right? When I was working on my PhD, they were, the question was often, what's the perfect PhD? It's the done. It's done, not perfect, but done. That's the best dissertation there is one that's done. Because I remember, I admit, 2014, all of April, about 3 weeks in April 2014, I sat and overthinking and waiting for perfection. I couldn't hit the button to submit my PhD for publication. 3 weeks I sat there just in front of the computer, just thinking and overthinking, and just like I couldn't get it done. And finally, my mentor, she emailed me. It's like, Twanna, you still have one step done. You got to turn in your dissertation, right? You know that, right? And then I was like, oh gosh, she's waiting, she's watching. And I was like, oh my God. And I had sat for 3 weeks in front of my computer for 3 weeks, just trying to make this thing perfect and get it perfect and get this done, just overthinking. And what if I put it out there and it's not done? And what if this and what if this and what if this? And I was just miserable for 3 weeks. That's why my dissertation says done in May 2014 versus April 2014, because I sat for 3 weeks overthinking, right? The first thing to do is stop perfection thinking. Nobody is perfect, and it's okay. It's okay, right? And again, not being perfect is not the same thing as not having standards. You can still have standards, just not perfect standards, right? And so just want to be sure, check out there. So those are the 5 ways that I have for you today to stop overthinking. If you came in late, we started with being aware of what you're doing, because what you're not aware of, you can't fix, right? And then instead of thinking of everything that can go wrong, start thinking of the things that can go right. Visualize all the things that will go right, that can go right. It will go right. Visualize that to stop that overthinking. And also distract yourself with happiness. Find something that's great for you to do. Find something that's happy for you to do. And sometimes you call people on the phone, listen to music, dance. I like to meditate. I literally like to just calm all the way down and just smile to myself as I sit there and just feel that relaxation just take over. You can do 1,001 things. There's a million and one things you can do to make yourself happy. Just distract yourself with happiness when you are overthinking. All right. And then also put things in perspective and understand that sometimes if you're overly tired or you haven't had enough sleep, things look like a mountain around you, right? So take a few moments to do the deep breathing, just relax, take a power nap. Yes, power naps are good for you, right? As long as you don't take too long, take a nap for too long. But ask yourself a question: will this really matter in 15 years? Will it matter in 5 months? Will it matter in 5 weeks, right? Ask yourself if it does. That's a way to engage that, the prefrontal cortex, the logical side of your brain, so you can start thinking. And then last, I shared with you, stop waiting for perfection, just do. Pick an action and just do it. Don't wait for perfection, because perfection will never come. And those of us who are like have that perfection thing, we kind of make the people around us miserable. So stop making the people around you miserable, right? Stop it. Just pick an action, just do it. Just pick it up and just do it, right? So those are the things that I had for you today. 5 ways to stop overthinking. So again, this is part 1. Part 2, the second part of this will be Friday at 6:15 p.m. And if you go to my page, Twanna Carter, professional and personal coaching, you'll see it there. I'll put out the links in a couple of different places. If you found that this is helpful, give me a thumbs up and let me know, right? Otherwise, I don't see any questions out there. So I'm going to say bye. Thanks for joining. And as always, those of you who catch me on the replay, thank you. Thank you for taking that time out. I'm Twanna Carter, career and anxiety coach, and I will see you back on Friday. Take care.